Okay, welcome. My name is Bonnie Tarantino, and you'll be listening for the next half hour or so to an interview for one of our students. Her name is Chacarra Carry, and she has completed our 200 level yoga teacher training. She's also now presently in our 500 yoga teacher training. She is a Reiki master as well as a yoga teacher, and I'm going to let her tell you more about her experience in our program and where she is now. Chacarra, how are you?
I'm good. Hi.
Hi.
I'm actually very good, and so thankful that I get to share a little bit about my journey from where I was before I started the training to where I am now. So I guess I'll just start there if that's okay, kind of talking about what got me to this point. And I had been researching yoga programs. I've been doing yoga for over 18 years now. I started very young. It was introduced to me at a time I really needed it, and I didn't really know what was happening to me with the yoga. It took me about another 10 or 12 years to kind of bring in that whole mind, body, spirit connection thing that happens with the yoga. And at some point in my young adult life, I knew I wanted to do a yoga teacher training, and I found this program at UMB and called them up, and I was just calling for information. They were like, no, we have one more spot, and we start next week. And I'm like, okay. So I just went with it, and it has literally changed my life. I worked in pharmacovigilance for several years in public health, industrial hygiene. So my background is in chemistry and public health, and I really was drawn to this particular program, because of the academic credibility of it, and it seemed very research-based, and I, coming from a science background, needed that as well, because that's just how my brain functions, and that was just huge for me to see that they had integrated all of these pieces and the science with the research, with everything else that the yoga entails. So I got into the program actually right after I had my son. So he was 3 months old, and I was at first concerned because I travel far away to attend the program, but I was a little concerned about doing that, but the program was very flexible for me, and I could take the classes on my own schedule, and it's a long program. So that was the other thing. Lots of teaching programs, they do it in a couple of weeks or a couple of months. I needed the space to absorb the information. So that was really helpful as well. In addition to all of that, I was, new mommy, had just started back to work again. And then by the time I finished the program, I was teaching, still taking care of my 1-year-old and working. So life was getting really hectic, and it wasn't exactly the way I envisioned my life being. But I could have had a freak out and a nervous breakdown, which is where I think I was headed, had I not gone through this program, this specific training. I would have not had the tools I needed to be clear about what it was that I needed out of my life and take the big leap into making some drastic changes and moving me towards my legend that I'm creating right now, which is quite beautiful and just wonderful.
It really is. I just want to clarify. So you found the program on the Center for Integrative Medicine site. Is that right? Yes?
Yes.
And And before you took the program, you were working in the pharmaceutical world or the pharmacological world?
Pharmacovigilance, yeah. It's clinical
Okay.
trial safety. Mm-hmm.
Okay, wow. And you were drawn to what we're doing because you were really interested in making sure that you were going to have a nice balance of the yogic philosophy with what's current in the field of yoga research, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Correct, too. Okay, good. And then right before you came in the program, you had your beautiful son, and you traveled quite a distance from D.C. up. I know for a fact that you were there every Thursday night, so you were very diligent about making those nights. But the other course requirements you were able to fit in throughout the year pretty easily.
Yes, yeah.
Great,
Absolutely.
okay. And then when you graduated, you were very excited about everything, but you still had these two worlds to kind of bridge. And that's the exciting part, right? That's where we're at in the story.
Yes.
So here you are and a little overwhelmed because now you have these two worlds that you're immersed in. And you came to what I remember as a pretty big decision within yourself to listen and follow, what you really desired. Yes?
Yes. And
so what happened? Tell us.
How did this happen? So when we started the program, we wrote a really strong Sankopa. So an intention for our life, what the highest version of our highest self, how we saw ourselves in the year after we completed this program or within a year. And that was the first day. And I wrote it down, and then I went back and I rewrote it, and I really intentionally wrote every word. It really came from the heart. And I was reading some study, this was a couple years ago, that Harvard did. I believe it's Harvard. They said, so the study, what they followed people or students who at the beginning of their college years wrote down what they wanted to accomplish after college and all that stuff, and students who didn't do that. And so all the students who wrote down what they wanted had accomplished pretty much everything they wrote down. And so the idea was that there is a strong, there's something that happens when you make an intention and you write it down. You start to move towards that goal. So that was what brought me kind of to this life shift, having set out this intention or set out to do this goal. And after the program, it's not coming to fruition right away. I immediately could see that something needed to change. So let me just tell you how my life was. I was in May when I completed the program. I was teaching about maybe 10 classes a week. I had private clients. I left my house at 4 a.m. and I got home pretty much at like 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. I was still, taking care of my son. Obviously, he had with milk and all that other stuff. And I had a full-time job, so I worked 8.5 hours a day. So you can imagine that I could probably only live like this for so long. And in the back of my mind, I knew this was not for me. And that not that the work I was doing was not important, but I needed to make a shift. And not only was I able to clearly say that out loud, I had the tool of journaling. I wrote it down. I also had Reiki with doing a Reiki grid. So I had all these tools to help me try to figure out how to do this. And so I did all of that. I wrote it down. Yeah. I did the Reiki grid, and I made a decision.
And just to clarify, in Reiki, one of the things why we introduce Reiki in the yoga teacher training is so that we can be really clear with the way we hold intentions for ourselves, and we can put clear energy towards the things that we want to experience, rather than spending a lot of time putting energy towards the things we're afraid of or worried about. So that tool in particular helps you to move out of worry and into creating the actions and following through with the things that are going to bring you more freedom and more joy and possibility. So,
Yes.
so there you have now these tools you activate at this year, and now where are you? What has happened? What are you doing now that's different? How does your life look now?
Well, I'm using all the tools that I learned, and that's what's different. I did not have these tools, and I had yoga, but I knew that I needed something more, and you can only get so much out of the classes. I was also doing a really vigorous practice that didn't really go into like the Yoga Sutras and the philosophy of yoga. So there was a piece of that I was missing, as the intellect piece that comes with going through the training, and the knowledge that I didn't have to help me understand, why I was doing certain poses and why I was attracted to a certain style of yoga. Going through the program gave me the answers that I needed, and the knowledge I needed to understand and grow my own personal yoga practice. And so that's what's different. I have new information and I have new tools to, like you said, focus my energy into what it is that I want to create and do in my life. And so I'm using those.
So how does that life look? Let's hear it. What are you doing?
How does that life look? So my life right now, I left my job in pharmacovigilance about 3 months after I completed the program, my 200-hour. I had wanted to do the 500-hour, but when I heard about it, obviously I was working, but now I dictate my own time. I own my own yoga studio. So I'm my own boss. I hired my first employee, and we will be hiring about 5 to 6 more teachers in the fall. We're planning to move into a new space that's about 2,400 square feet. So we'll have 2 studios, a child care center, and we'll be doing all kinds of yoga, meditation, Reiki, and all of that. So, and I am home with my son during the day. So not only do I get to run my own business and make my own income, dictate my own time, I can also be the mom that I wanted to be, to take my son to the zoo whenever, I want. We can be together as well. So that's where I am now. We started small in my home, and we're preparing to grow and reach about 60,000 homes. That's what we estimated. So, yeah.
It's amazing. And so one of the other big shifts that has kind of freed up some energy for you so that you could be more potent is that when you need to make a decision, when you need to, get clear on something, you turn towards yourself. You turn towards like an inner wisdom. And from what I've seen in your life, you're very respectful and loving to the people in your life. But what you seek from them is different than what you used to seek from them. And so can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yes. I think that we all have this ability to kind of sense people's emotions, and you have that person you meet and you're like, oh, I don't know what's happening, like the energy just shifts. And I think the science is really moving in that direction to try and quantify these feelings that we have. And I say that because I knew that before, that before this training, I could be affected by other people's energy. So I could, if I'm looking to be happy, then maybe I would tell my husband, why didn't you buy me flowers? why why didn't you buy me flowers, right? But that's kind of like I'm trying to get something out of him, and now I know that I can buy myself flowers, and I can make myself happy. And when I'm happy, everybody around me tends to be happy as well. And so there's this whole understanding of yourself that comes out of studying and doing yoga, where you don't have to pull or manipulate people to get the things that you want. And so I'm looking inward a lot more. When I start to feel like I need to get things from people emotionally, get love or happiness, I look inward now to understand what is it that I really want.
That's amazing.
And do I really need it from other people?
And that self-containment has allowed for a lot of really good decisions, and wonderful things also have been coming to you. So just to conclude, you've just shared so many things about how you've been able to courageously change and listen to yourself and follow the things that work. Continuing forward, the possibilities are pretty amazing for you. And so this new studio reaching different communities that may have not really had a chance to participate, like in yoga, and also even the more and more freedom that you'd like to experience as you raise your family. Where do you think you'll be in a few years, and is there anything in particular that maybe you could anticipate would support you more in that direction?
So where do I see myself in a few years? And I'm glad you mentioned the part about our community, because I didn't mention that before, but I do live in technically a rural area, so there is no access to yoga on a daily basis. There's a couple of classes at the local gym, but that's maybe 2 or 3 times a week. So where I see myself is becoming a resource, and so we will be the prominent yoga place to go. So we won't be doing anything other than yoga, Reiki, and meditation. And so I would like to see this grow into a community resource that uses small businesses around us, the local community, where people around us come, they know that this is the place you go to get what you need for your yoga stuff. And then, down the line, a couple more years later, maybe opening other studios in rural communities where there's limited access to yoga. And I also see us having retreats in the Caribbean, because my husband is Jamaican and we love going there. So
I love that.
That's on the list of things to do as well. Yeah. But that's where I see us going. Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So just to summarize with one sweet word, what is an energy that you can tap into pretty easily now when you get quiet, and that you can draw from very quickly? What's something that you once before found very hard to access that you now consider a part of your every breath?
Peace of mind. Yeah, just peace.
Beautiful. You can access that now. You know where it is.
Yes.
And it lives within you. And that's what you're going to be sharing more of with others, right? Just emanate from you. Yeah. Wow. That was amazing. I just, I know your story. I've been there with you along the way, but to hear it all put together is so inspiring. And, I just so appreciate you being willing to share that with us. And I can't wait to walk into that new studio when it opens and just do a little twirl around. We didn't even get into that you're a dancer on top of it all.
Oh,
but,
yes.
Yes. So
We will be doing yoga dance.
That vision, a beautiful yoga dance that I do in the new studio in the near future. And I thank you so much. So much.
Thank you so much.
All right. Have a beautiful day.
All right. You as
Bye,
well.
Chacarra.
Bye.
Okay. Bye.